Hey guys, I want to give you a quick update on conditions since the last time I reported. Water conditions, as far as stability, coming up and down, it's held pretty stable around 359 for the last couple of weeks. Actually, they're not fluctuating it that much. Last time it was up around 360. The flipping bite was still really good. A lot of people wanting to know, are they still in the bushes? Well, the flipping bite, unless it's 359 and a half on the north end, there's just not a lot of cover in the water. I'm sure there's a little bit of a flipping bite going on if you go down south a little ways. There's a little bit more cover in the water down there, but up here it's really not happening. Water temperature still 65 degrees. It's hanging right there in the mid 60s. 62 to 65 degrees is what I'm seeing. I'm sure if you get way back in the backs of the creeks, you'll see a little bit warmer water, but are the fish moving out? That's a question I'm getting a lot. I haven't looked, to be honest with you. That magic number is 70 degrees, 72 degrees before I start looking out there. So I'm still catching a good number of fish up tight to the bank, that are kind of transitioning out, and some are going, or some are going back. So I haven't looked out there at all. Water clarity for the most part is, pretty clean. Last time I reported, I think it was pretty murky on the main river, but it's starting to clean up. With all this rain and wind and stuff that we've had this week, I look for, they're going to start pulling some more water. That water's going to murk up again. And, conditions are just as quick as I report to you guys. It's changing every day. It's springtime. Water's doing this, so it's, it's changing every day. But for the most part, as far as the fishing, it's not changed a lot. I have seen a little bit of a shad spawn. If you'll get up on some of the, if you get out here first thing in the morning, get up on some of the pea gravel banks, the clay banks, like you see behind me here. It's kind of what you want to look for first thing in the morning. Shad spawn at night, so it's not something that I chase a lot, because you got to be out here first thing in the morning. I've seen it a little bit of it happening as I'm getting out here first thing in the morning, but typical baits, square bill crankbaits. This is the 6 cents Crush 50. I throw that a lot, just a shad scales color, just a white, looking color, kind of a shad looking color up on the bank. It's a good way to catch a lot of fish real quick first thing in the morning, especially if you're a tournament guy and you're getting ready for a tournament, or you're fishing a tournament. If you can find a good shad spawn, you can put a good quick limit in the boat pretty fast. Another bait for that is obviously a spinner bait. This is an accent spinner bait, 3/8 ounce with a split tail trailer on it, chartreuse white. It's got a little bit of shad color, that glimmer blue color in it. Spinner bait's a good bait, especially with all the wind and stuff that we've had. That's another bait that's really been good this week because of the wind, is just covering water. If you see a piece of laydown in the water, because the water has been so low, it's not low, it's pool, but there's still not a lot of cover in the water up here on this north end of the lake where I'm at. So if you see something in the water that's got any water around it, in windy, cloudy, overcast conditions like you see here today, that spinnerbait has been just as good as anything. For the most part, fish are kind of still in that transition. There's fish that are going back, there's fish that are coming out. I've caught a good number of fish still on the wobblehead. I've talked about the wobblehead with the stroker crawl on the back of it. That's a good bait to fish, in transition, when they're kind of coming and going both. They're going back to spawn and some are coming out. There's more fish that have probably spawned than I thought had initially. I'm starting to see a lot of fish that I'm catching that are coming out on places that I typically look for before they get out on that main lake. And one thing I look for is those banks that have current behind them. So if that water's moving, gravel points or secondary points, that kind of stick out, that might be at the mouth of a creek, that have a lot of rock on them. And a couple baits that I throw a lot. Everybody knows that I love to throw a deep crankbait, and one thing that I'll do is I'll get up there with like a 10-foot runner like this C10 here, or like I'll also have like a 20-foot runner. And sometimes on those cloudy, overcast days, especially if you get wind, those fish will be right up on the bank, and you can catch them on like that C10, that 10-foot running bait, right up tight to the bank around those current breaks. And then on those, if it gets bluebird skies or something, you want a little bit of wind in order for it to work, but you can catch them on that deeper plug like the C20 or something, that gets down there that 20-foot range. Post spawn fish, they're coming out. I'm catching them. They don't have a gut on them anymore. You can tell they've spawned, and I'm catching some fish doing that, looking for those areas, catching them on that crankbait when conditions are right. Because on these slick days like this, it's kind of tough, but The only other thing really that's changed as far as what I've been doing, I'm getting up shallow and I'm starting to throw the, you know, the popping style baits, the Pop R P70s, kind of a staple here. This is the 6 cents, the splashback 70, the popping bait. And I get up there shallow and I'm looking for those fish that are, you know, maybe garden fry or up there that are, you know, around those bluegill beds and stuff. A lot of the bluegill, it's May, it's almost Memorial Day, and fish will start, they'll start getting on those bluegill beds as soon as they're done spawning, and then they'll get up there, start attacking those bluegill beds, and that's a really good bait. Not caught a lot of fish on it, but I have had some topwater bites, you know, just up running around up shallow. But that's it in a nutshell. I'll keep you guys informed here every couple of weeks probably, but if you're looking for a trip, electronics trip, Lowrance training on the water, or if you're looking for a fishing trip, look me up. info@brandonhunterfishing.com is my email, and I'll see you guys on the water.